Hi there, Nukenites! It's time to re-enter the magical world of Brood War with Gujilla vs. Saint, STX Soul vs. MBCGame. Gujilla, of course, the artist formerly known as Cal. And this is going to be played on Alternative, which is a new two-player map for the Proleague, top and bottom positions. I'm sure you'll get the gist of it when the game starts. And Alternative, of course, is a great name for a pretentious alternative band. But here we go. Except, down at the 6 o'clock position in blue is Cal, aka Gujilla, aka Captain Thunderpants. Okay, I made that last one up. But up at the 12 o'clock position in teal is Saint. Not Savior, Saint. Not the Pope. Okay, whatever. But this is STX Soul versus MBCGame. We're into the 4th set of this series, but this game will not decide the series, so don't worry, you're not going to be spoiled that much. Unless you look at the top of your screen and see those numbers. So take your finger, cover the top of your screen. There you go. Now you're not spoiled. Nuke the Stars Solutions. But yes, it's good to do a non-Jadong Flash Bisu Stork game. Sometimes. You gotta have your greens, guys. You gotta have those greens. But that's kind of a bad example because I almost never eat anything green. Never mind I said anything like that. But yes, I think this will be a good match anyway. I'm not a huge fan of Saint, but I am a pretty big follower of Cal. I'm a pretty big fan of Cal in general, and Protoss players in general, I should say. Just because I think they've had tough roads ahead of them the past few years, although that's definitely turning around quickly. Protoss players are the winningest players at the moment. But Cal is an interesting situation because since Fantasy won his OSL title, I consider Cal to be the best player who does not yet have a title. I mean, Cal should have definitely had a title by now. Of course, he's made it to an MSL final and had to face Jadong. Bad luck there. Of course, he would have had to face Flash or Jadong or Bisu or someone like that in the finals anyway, so I guess if he can't pull that win out, he might never pull it out. But, yeah, Cal should have won a title by now, and really, he needs a title. Cal needs a title. After Fantasy won, of course, Fantasy was my number one guy who should have had a title for a long period of time there. He won the Pro League finals for his team, obviously, but that's not really a personal achievement. He could get, like, the OSL final win. He achieved this very good final win against Stork, slaughtered him 3-0. So how can you go wrong? It's exactly what Flash did at that exact location at the finals, but it looks like Cal is in here trying to take down a drone. He's got that drone down to red health, and he might try to chase it around a little bit more. He's looking for it right now, clicking on the drones, trying to figure out which one is the red one. But it seems that Saint has popped a couple Zerglings out anyway, so he should be able to get in there. Oh, the drone running away, trying to go up and throw down the extractor. It does throw down the extractor, so nothing much was lost there. But I don't believe that Cal took a lot of damage either. A little bit of probe structural damage. Ate through the shield a bit to take about 6 points off that probe. That's not a big deal at all. That probe should be able to stay in there long enough to get a full scout on what's coming up. But yeah, as I said, Cal, a fantastic player. I can't really say the same for Saint lately. Saint is a veteran player, maybe even more than Cal. I didn't look that up, but I know that Saint's been around since 2005, as long as Stork. And yeah, that is definitely veteran status there. But Saint hasn't been consistently good for a very long time. He gets wins every now and then, but I don't think he's gotten a win since about February of this year. So it's been a while since he's gotten a win for his team. It doesn't mean he's not going to beat Cal here today, but it just means he just hasn't been consistent. I guess Cal, you could say that for Cal too. Cal is one of the most notoriously inconsistent players on the scene. I mean, he has a 60% win record. That's good across the board. Great, well-rounded player. But whenever Cal needs to win, it seems is exactly the time when he doesn't win. And you can say that for a lot of players, but Cal, it stands out a lot more because of his talent, I think. Yeah, as I've reiterated many times in this commentary, Cal should have won a title by now. He's the best player who does not have one. But yeah, Saint's pretty good, but he hasn't shown off his winningness in a few months. It's been, actually, the last time he was consistent, I think, was about 2008, 2009. I'm thinking back on his games in those years, and yeah, he was pretty good back then. but he hasn't been able to show that level of play for a long period of time. Okay, Cal trying to sneak into the main. There was a a very strategically placed Zergling at that choke area. And this is a two-player map, top and bottom positions, which is unusual for a two-player map to have the top and bottom thing going on. Thinking of Ride of the Valkyries, I think, was the map that I most remember. That there was another one that I can't remember. It was in Proleague. I'm never going to remember it on the spot like this. Too much pressure, man. But the Stargate and the Citadel of Adun coming up for Cal, as Cal already has his second base saturated, up, ready to go. And it seems that Saint has saturated his third base now, getting up. Drone whoring, basically, is the term. Get as many drones as you possibly can, jumpstart that economy, and then defend with static defense later, if it should call for it. Of course, PvZ has been kind of an enigma the past couple of years. The metagame has been swishing back and forth pretty rapidly, actually. I'd say it's in the favor of Protoss now, but a couple years ago that definitely wasn't the case. Everyone was saying how imbalanced Zerg was because they were destroying so many Protoss players. I think this is one of the more interesting matchups, but right now I'd say the most interesting matchup is probably Terran versus Zerg, but that's not what's going on the screen right now, so never mind that. Screw that. Another gateway for Cal at the front. I think he has those two now. I didn't see any extra gateways inside of his main, so he just has those two gateways at the front to pump Zealots and High Templar at the front, most likely, going for a Zealot. Maybe Zealot Archon +1 attack. Since he has a second gateway so far out there at the front, that's going to help him get those reinforcements on quicker. And he's kind of camped out here with a Zealot that will be ticking down pretty quickly over at ticking down at the 3 o'clock position. Wasn't able to get a whole lot done there except take down 3 Zerglings, but it seems that Cal will be able to snipe an Overlord as he's flying around, snipes one Overlord, but he's going to have to get home pretty quickly. The Overlords already have speed, so that could be a problem for Cal if he goes out with Dark Templar later to get anything done with those. But I don't see any static defense so far. And it seems that Saint is going to be focusing on a ground army to possibly break the front. Another Overlord going down. This is going to be Overlord number 2 going down in this game. So Cal is smartly throwing down extra cannons at the front, just trying to make sure, because he's already seen those units out. And once you see the Hydralists out, you need to prepare at the front with extra cannons, because you never know how many Hydras your opponent's going to end up morphing. He could just go all in Hydras from this stage, because he has enough hatcheries to do it, I think. But it doesn't seem that he's going to do that right now. He's playing defensively, trying to keep around his Overlords and protect those Overlords from the Corsairs. Pretty heavy amount of Corsairs, about 4 out on the map now. And I saw that Cal was consistently pumping from that Stargate. Oh, he's actually stopped production from the Stargate to get out his ground army. Throwing an additional cannon at the front, though. So, right. See the Evolution Chamber. And it looks like Saint is pretty quick to run back to protect his Overlords, so no additional Overlords have gone down, it seems, at the front. But the High Templar are out there in no man's land, just generating energy, so Cal can eventually go out and get some storms on those big packs of Hydras. And he has a Dark Templar out here, but I'm not sure how much this Dark Templar is going to be able to do. Took down 1 drone, but it can't really get close to any of the bases. Saint has been smart about protecting it against Dark Templar. I think that was his main concern in this game, was protecting against Dark Templar, because he has his Overlords very strategically positioned. He's over here trying to intercept maybe a shuttle that might come in. I haven't seen any shuttles for Cal yet, though, so we might not see any Dark Templar drops in this game. He's just going to try to get them through the front doors of the expansions, over the 3 o'clock and up at the natural. Another Overlord goes down at the 6 o'clock position. Cal still on 2 bases as more hatcheries being added for Saint. So he's going to try to get a bigger ground army out there to be more aggressive, because he's being very defensive now for a Zerg player. You usually see a Zerg be much more aggressive than this, but he's waiting for this initial push, I think. Going for the High Templar. Might be able to snipe a High Templar. He does snipe a High Templar that was moving up the map. That's going to be a blow to Cal. Of course, he still has 1 High Templar left, but he could get completely surrounded by this huge grouping of Hydralists that are moving down here. And Saint, he knows this, so he's moved his Hydralists into the middle of the map, just prepared to snipe the last remaining High Templar, and that would put him in a great position there. But more Overlords going down. Cal was keeping up production of those Corsairs, able to do that and sneak his Dark Templar in at the same time. Now there's no detection here whatsoever, but Saint is actually keeping away with his drones. He hasn't lost too many over at that 3 o'clock, and now he has moved in with his Overlords, so he was able to take down that Dark Templar. That could have been very bad, very, very bad for Saint if he hadn't moved in with those Overlords. But, all right, let's see what Cal is up to. I see one additional cannon inside the main, actually, that could be to fend off lurker drops or something, maybe prepare for an incoming drop. It's definitely a possibility since the Overlord speed is already done. There would be just one more thing to upgrade, one more upgrade for Saint to get straight to the drop, and he has a big enough army to drop at this stage. Obviously has a pretty huge army out there, and the lurkers pushing back this army. I don't think any troops are going to die here, but the High Templar are forced to storm on top of the troops as kind of a distraction to keep them away from the ground army, so he can fall back to a stronger army, fall back to his cannon somewhat. But the High Templar still sitting in the back, generating energy, and the Observatory just now coming up. So Cal's going to rely on his cannons and his storms to fight back the lurkers, basically. He doesn't really have any detection, so he'll have to do kind of blind storming on top of the burrowed lurkers. But, oh, man, it looks like Saint is going in here with his Hydralist for some reason. He doesn't really have a big enough army of Hydras down there. But now a lot of Overlords are grouped up in the middle, and I think that Saint is going for a drop. Yeah, he's loading up his Overlords. He has a lot of Overlords in there, actually. So this could be a doom drop, dropping his entire army, basically, inside of that main. But Cal might have caught on. He's flying around with Corsairs around that army, so he might have seen that, might have seen it, but in the meantime, it looks like Cal is going for the natural expansion, so Saint is going to have to back off of that plan to drop, if he was going to drop, and go straight up here to defend himself, because these Zealots are going to wreak havoc on everything, but luckily it looks like Saint has enough troops to clean it up, as long as he goes inside the main, gets rid of those pesky Zealots inside the main, which could cause a lot of damage. There's absolutely no defense there whatsoever. The drones going down, all kinds of drones going down here. The drones, heavy danger, economic danger for Saint inside this main. Oh man, a lot of drones went down inside that main, but it looks like Saint has finally cleaned this up. He's coming in with an awful lot of Hydralists, but it's probably put his own plan behind. I'm almost positive he was thinking about doing the drop since he had every single Overlord out there in the middle. It's just a bad timing. That would have been bad timing to do that drop, so it was just bad timing for Saint in general here, trying to fight back the storms. His army is split up. He has half of his army was inside the main trying to fight back the aggressiveness there from Cal, but now Cal has forced his entire army out into the middle, getting these huge storms on big packs of Hydralists. So things are not looking good for Saint, actually. He's got to really move out there. Finally, the rest of his army is joining the small ragtag group of troops that were in the middle of the map. So if he does some nice storm dodging here, might be able to do this. But no, he's running into the storms, all kinds of Hydralists melting. And I think that Cal is going to continue to reinforce this army and keep it in the middle as long as he possibly can. Yeah, not much drone saturation inside the main now, and not much in general over at the 3 o'clock position. Not a whole lot, economically speaking, going on over there as well. So Saint is kind of in trouble. He is in trouble. If he was going for a drop strategy, I think he should commit to that. He needs to do something to get Cal to run back to his own base, keep him away from the other bases. This might be a good time to take a 4th base for Saint as well if he is going for a drop or something. It's risky, but it could end up paying off if Cal devotes everything to a full frontal assault and gets taken down by lurkers or something after the natural. But now Cal has dropped 4 Zealots inside of the main, as if those drones in the main didn't have enough problems. And now there are 4 Zealots in there running around, no telling what they're going to be able to do. But now Saint is going for the drop, deciding to drop now, which is it's a pretty good opportunity to do it because most of Cal's troops are hovering around his natural expansion. He's not going for a big attack. He's not completely inside of his main to defend that, so he's kind of in between, and this is a good time to drop. But the spawning pool being sniped by Cal, there's 4 Only 4 Zealots. That was enough there, but it looks like Cal's prepared for this drop. He come in with all of his Corsairs, takes down one Overlord full of troops. But the rest of the Overlords get in, it seems, and these Corsairs are going to be fended off by the Hydralists that are still in. So let's see what kind of damage that Saint can get done inside of this main. If he'll need to go for the important tech buildings. Yeah, definitely have to take down all the tech buildings. He can't afford not to, now that Cal is going for a counterattack instead of defending his own main. I think that Cal is going to focus on using his reinforcements, his backup troops, to try to clean up the main, going there, waiting for storm energy to be... Whoa, that was a huge storm. That took down about a control group of Hydras in the middle. So really, man... oh, wow, it looks like Saint has actually blocked himself in with lurker eggs. Eesh. That's not good. Man, if I were him, I would just keep those at the natural expansion now. There's nothing he can do about the 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock is gone, but he's still getting a nice attack inside the main. Hasn't taken down the important tech buildings yet, but he's well on his way as long as he positions those lurkers well enough and maybe tries to snipe those observers. But no, another storm from Cal storming over everything. And I think Cal has pretty much cleaned up everything inside of his main. Yeah, everything inside the main, aside from that one single sad Hydra, is gone. So yikes. The spawning pool being rebuilt inside the main, a bunch of creep colonies at the front for Saint, but he hasn't morphed them into Sunkens yet, although he really should, because now he's kind of defending the Alamo. He has 2 bases. He didn't really cut deep enough into Cal's main to be okay on these 2 bases either. He's got to do a lot more economic harassment if he wants to stay in this game. But Cal drops inside the main with even more Zealots. Oh, drones. I honestly feel sorry for the drones today. This is just drone genocide inside this main. Poor, poor drones. Even more are going to die there, but now these Zealots being forced back by the Hydralists now. Only a few Hydras, though, so the Zealots might be able to muscle their way back to the drone line. But it looks like another drop coming in from Cal up at this natural expansion. Not sure what Cal's going to do up here. A storm drop from Cal over the few remaining drones. Oh, Saint actually got a shuttle snipe. There's something good for Saint in this game. But yeah, it's way too late. Saint is not going to win this game now because he just has such a dwindling economy. Lost his 3rd base, and now he's on 2, and Cal is on 3. And he wasn't, as I said, he wasn't able to dig into Cal's important buildings inside the main. He got close, but he wasn't able to do it. I think he took down about 1 or 2 gateways, maybe a few pylons, but nothing really that important inside the main went down. So Cal is sitting pretty. I think he's going to do okay from this point on, as long as he doesn't fumble horrendously into Saint's hands. But more gateways being put up. It looks like Cal might have actually lost a lot of gateways. There are a handful of gateways inside the main. I didn't see exactly how many went down, but from the number he's putting up, it might have been quite a few. But I think this is just a waiting game now for Saint. Saint does not want to GG yet. Never GG. Never surrender. Annoy your opponent as much as humanly possible. And the audience. Annoy the audience. That's the most important part, guys. Always remember that. Annoy the audience. I'm going to do that now. Annoyed yet? Okay, my job is done. But okay, it seems that Cal is not expanding yet. Of course, he doesn't really have to. All he really has to do is pump units until he destroys Saint. Saint, it looks like he's trying to go for a lurker drop over at this natural expansion, but Cal... It seems that Cal is prepared. He has cannons all over the place, which will snipe the lurkers very quickly. And there's Cal. He found another lurker up to 10 o'clock. Not sure how he unearthed that one, but there was a lurker up there anyway. And he's chasing it down with a single Zealot. But here comes a semi-drop from Saint over at this 8 o'clock position. The cannon's going down, but it doesn't even matter. In fact, one cannon even lives through all of that. And now Saint, I think this will be his last-ditch effort. He's going to have to go for the observers, find some way to snipe those observers, but no, absolutely no chance now. GG from Saint. Nicely played by Godzilla Man. And Saint continues his long streak of losses. But that was still a fun game. This has been Nuke. I will be back with another Pro League selection soon. Man, I'm getting tired of this in-between season stuff. I want an OSL! Alright, just screaming about it won't get it done. I gotta go protest in Korea. But alright, see you guys later.